This is Josh White with JW Math Tutoring. In this video, I'm going to go through Bluebook Practice Test 7 Math Module 2A, the easier of the two second modules. So let's go ahead and take a look.
But life is a dream that calculus could never predict.
Just before I get started on this Practice Test 7 from Bluebook, Module 2A, the easier of the 2-second modules, just want to mention a couple things. First, if you like this video, of course, please do give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and sign up for notifications. Second, if you haven't done so already, please check out the solutions to Module 1 from Practice Test 7, this same practice test, and also Module 2B, the harder of the two second modules, again from the same Practice Test 7. Lastly, on this particular module, I don't think I will go over the total allotted time to complete these 22 questions because I do like to show as many methods as possible to solve them. But just keep in mind, sometimes I do go past the 35 minutes that you're allotted on a module just because I like to show up to 3 or even 4 different ways that you could solve a problem, including using Desmos. All right, so with all that said, let's go ahead and get started on this Bluebook Practice Test 7, brand new test that just came out 4 days ago, Module 2A, the easier of the 2-second modules. Question number 1. You basically have 165 people here, and 130 of them are donors, and some unknown number are volunteers. So you just set up a basic equation, or you don't even need to do that. You can probably realize that it's just going to be 165 minus 130. It is 35 people that are going to be volunteers. All right, we can move on to the next question, number 2. Here we have a bar graph. And which of these colors appears 70 times according to the graph? Well, notice that green, the bar for green goes up to 70 on the y-axis. So that's just the answer. It is letter B, green. We can move on to the next question. Number 3, here you have a basic linear equation. Now, of course, you could solve this by hand. You know, we just go through, subtract 275 on both sides. 2p equals 50, p equals 25. So we have the correct answer. However, you could also go to Desmos. And in Desmos, the way that I like to solve equations is I type y equals left side and y equals right side. Now, one thing just to note, the equation is in terms of p, but you can't do that in Desmos. You have to basically write it in terms of x. Now, when you use this method, you look for the intersection point between the two equations. So here we see it. It is 25 for the x-coordinate, so that just confirms our answer. However, you can type in the entire equation and just look for the vertical line, which you can see right here, happens right at 25. So that's another, perfectly acceptable way to solve this problem as well. And just lastly, you could also do back solving. Now, again, this is a relatively basic equation, so you probably don't want to do that, but you could take the answer choices, you could plug them each in and see, does the left side equal 325 if you plug in 5 for P? Okay, no, it doesn't. Move on to B. Then repeat the process. You'll see it does equal 325, and therefore it's the correct answer. Next up, question number 4. We have a scatter plot with a line of best fit, and we just want to know when the distance is 4,000 feet, so draw a straight line up to the line of best fit, and then go over to the temperature. What is the temperature? So it's basically going to be right around 35 degrees. So the correct answer for this is letter B, and we can move on to the next question. Number 5. Here we have a rectangle which has an overall area of 72. Okay, and then we take out another rectangle from it which has an area of 20. So like picture this little corner here, this has a total area of 20. So what is the part that's left after you remove the 20 from it? Well, it's just going to be 72 minus 20, or 52 in total. So the correct answer is going to be letter D, 52. We can move on to the next question. Number 6, we have a parabola that is graphed. Its vertex is the minimum point right here in the middle, and it is just the point 0, comma 2. It also happens to be the y-intercept of the graph, but they're only technically asking for the vertex. So the correct answer is letter C, and we can move on to the next question. All right, the next problem deals with basically population density. So in this example, it's not going to be people over an area, it's going to be number of raccoons over the area. So 2358 raccoons over 131 square miles, and then you just divide this and it gives you the number of raccoons, which is 18, basically per 1 square mile. That's what the population density is. So the correct answer for this is letter A, 18. We can move on to the next question. Number 8, another linear equation, except they're not asking for x, they're asking for 72x. So I will show you. Quickest way to solve this is just go times 9 times 9 because they want 72x. So the answer is 54. However, if instead you solved this for x first and got, 6 over 8, which is just 3/4, then you would just have to multiply it by 72, and you could go ahead and do this out. And again, it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be 54 because this goes into this 18 times. 3 times 18 is 54. Lastly, you could obviously go to Desmos. This one, I would probably 8x equals 6. I'll probably just type it like this. Where is the thing? Okay, it's here at 0.75. Let's export this. The value that we want is this. So now you want this times 72. And there's our answer, 54. Nothing else you need to do. Next up, number 9. What's the probability of selecting a positive number from this group of 3 numbers listed in front of you? So there are 3 numbers to pick from, so our bottom number is 3, and there is only one favorable outcome, so the answer to this question is B, 1 out of 3. That's the probability of selecting a positive number from this list of 3. Next up, question number 10. Here you have 2 parallel lines cut by a transversal. So the 162-degree angle at the top and this are corresponding angles. They are angles that are in the same position on lines R and S. Therefore, they will be congruent. So x is just equal to 162 because corresponding angles are congruent when they're formed by 2 parallel lines and a transversal. Next up, number 11. Which expression is equivalent to this? So, hopefully you recognize that to get from here down to the answer choice is basically you're factoring out a common factor. And the common factor for all 3 of these terms is just going to be x to the first. So if you do that, you're left with 23x squared plus 2x plus 9. So let's see, which answer choice is that? It looks like C right here, okay, which is the correct answer. Now, you can, of course, go to Desmos. Now, if you're able to recognize a common factor, I mean, this method will probably seem to take longer because what you're going to do is you're just going to graph all the answer choices and see which one overlaps it completely. All right, so this first one, it's kind of tough to see because I'm zoomed out. Here we go. So notice they do not overlap completely. We turn one on and turn one off. Okay, then maybe I change it. 9x times 23x cubed plus 2x squared plus 1. Okay, these do not overlap completely, so that is not right. And we have x plus 23x squared plus 2x plus 9. Now, these two overlap completely. Notice, turn them on, turn them off. It's the exact same graph. So this is an alternate way you could do this, and this is actually useful if the expressions are significantly more complicated than, the one here where we're just factoring out an x. All right. Same exact thing. You could use the same Desmos approach that I just used on the last problem, where you type in the original, you type in each answer choice, and then you see, do the graphs exactly overlap? Okay. However, I'm going to do this one just by hand. So I'm going to match up my like terms here. 15x cubed, cross them out. Plus 5x squared does not have another like term. Plus 5x does not have another like term. 7 plus negative 5 plus 2. So looks like, looking at the answer choices, this one should be letter D, which is the correct answer. Next up, number 13. All you're doing here for this problem is basically plugging in 50 for x and then seeing what the output or the y or the f of x is. So $45 times the 50 crates plus the $600 like initial whatever, initial charge should give us a total amount of, I believe it is $28.50. Yep, $28.50. So that's just our answer. That's the total cost. And we can move on to the next question. All right, this question is just asking essentially, what is 6% of 450? So that's just the same thing as multiplying 0.06 times 450. This should be 27. If we go to Desmos, now I will show you also, yep, 27. So let's fill that in. You can also type the percentages in as well. So for example, you could say 6%, and it automatically fills in the of 450, right there. You don't even have to switch it into the 0.06. But you get the same answer, which is 27. All right, next up, we have a problem dealing with an exponential function. So the value of the account doubles every 10 years. The initial value is 890. Okay, so it's going to have 890 in the front. The correct answer for this is going to be C, and there are two ways, or there are two things that kind of give away clues or hints that I know that this is the right answer. First of all, when you're talking about the value of an account doubling, basically that means that this base right here is going to have to be 2. Like 1/2 and 1/10, which are numbers less than 1, they're going to cause the amount in the account to decrease, not increase. So it's going to be impossible to double when you're multiplying by a number less than 1, every whatever many years. So these are automatically out because of that. And then same thing here, this is way too big. It's not going to be 10 for doubling. And the other thing that I know, or the other clue that tells me C is correct is, when you talk about something that's, say, doubling and it mentions every X years, the exponent is going to be like T over X, meaning whatever this number is for doubles every 4 years, or doubles every 10 years, or doubles every 6 years. That number is what is going to be divided by the variable that's in the exponent. So I see the 10 up here that's divided under the T, and that's another clue or another hint that C is the correct answer. Now, if you didn't know that, if you didn't recognize that, if you weren't sure, that's fine. The alternate way to do this or to figure it out is like to start with the answer choices. And I'm actually going to do it like this because it'll be a little quicker. So I'm going to make a function. Okay, just replace t with x. Now, it says it doubles every 10 years. So that means if I find f of 10, I should get double of 890, which is 1780, $1,780. All right, so this is A. This is obviously wrong. Let's plug this in. Okay, this is terribly wrong. Again, we're looking for 1780 as our output. Okay, so now let's go to C. Let's just replace this whole thing with 2 and this with 10. Okay, now we get the 1780, i.e. the double of the initial amount, the 890. And then lastly, we can just confirm. Okay, this is, again, extremely wrong. It's way, way, way too high compared to what we're looking for. So again, that's an alternate method you could use. Basically, that's kind of like using picking numbers, that picking numbers approach, to confirm the correct answer is C. Next up, inequalities. So a couple things here. Basically, if you notice these two things, these two inequalities, and kind of like set them together, like I could just go like this, and essentially x has to be less than 22 and y has to be less than x. So you can just go through the answer choices and look at them and figure out, like which ones we can eliminate. So, for example, in A, are all the x's less than 22? Yes. Are all the y's less than the x part across from them? Yes. So keep it. In B, are all the x's less than 22? Yes. Are the y's less than x? No. 20 not less than 19. 21 not less than 20. Okay, so this one's out. C, are all the x's less than 22? No. I see a 23 right here, right off the bat. So that one's out. Now we have to scroll down to look at D. Notice D is the same thing. It has x values of 23, 24, 25, which are not less than 22. So the correct answer for this problem is going to be letter A. Note, you could also do this by graphing each of these inequalities. Let me zoom out here. Okay, you're looking for the overlaps. You're looking for this triangular region, kind of down here where the gray and the red overlap. And then you could just, like, for example, you could go through and you could plot out some of the points. So is this one actually in the region? You have to zoom in a little bit. Yes, it is. And then you could look at 20, 19. This one is in the region. Okay, good. 21, 20. Also, so notice these three are solutions. They are in the graph of the solution set. So that just confirms that A is the correct answer. And if you tried B, C, or D, you would find at least 1 point, if not more, that are not in that shaded region. Next up, question number 17. Here we have a line which has a slope of 9 and a y-intercept of -5. So that means its equation is 9x minus 5. And they give it to us in this form of px plus r, where p and r are constants. Okay, what's the value of p? So p is the same, p just represents the slope. So what's the slope of this line? Well, they already tell us it's 9. So you don't have to do any work for this one at all other than just, reading it and recognizing what it's asking for. Correct answer is 9. Move on to the next question. For 18, we have a relatively easy function evaluation question. We're just plugging in 4 plus 6 for x. Excuse me, we're plugging in 4 for x, and then, as part of that process is going to be added to 6. So it's 1/2 of 10. So the correct answer for this is just 5, which is letter D. However, in the interest of showing all solutions, of course, we can go to Desmos and we can just type this in. F of 4 is equal to 5. There it is. And we have our answer, letter D. Next up, number 19. What is the slope of this line? So, first, if you know that the shortcut formula for when a line is in standard form, the slope is -a over b. That is the quickest, easiest way to solve this. -10 over b, which is -5. The two negatives cancel. 10 over 5 reduces to 2. So correct answer is +2. It is letter D. Now, if you don't know that, totally fine. Just put it into slope-intercept form. -5y equals -10x minus 12. Divide by -5. Y equals 2x. What did I get? Plus 12 fifths. The y-intercept part doesn't matter. All that matters is the slope, which is +2. Now, if you wanted to do this in Desmos, what we'd have to do is, let's see here. First, graph the line. Okay. Then you have to pick these two um, intercepts, make a table. What's going on here? Okay, so we got our first one, and we got this one, negative 1.2 comma 0. All right, then we're just going to do a linear regression. Actually, yeah, notice I click on the little icon up here, the automatic regression button. It automatically selects linear. That's what I want. Okay, what is the slope of the sign right here? It's 2. So again, this is how you could do the entire problem in Desmos as well. Question number 20. Here is a line, and they want to know which of these other equations would make a system which has infinite solutions. So the easiest way, quickest way to do this is to know that when you have two equations in a system and the answer is infinite solutions, meaning it's the same line twice, one of the lines is a multiple of the other, meaning that all the terms on both sides are like multiplied by the same value compared to the other equation. So in this problem, that is answer choice D, because you take the left side and you multiply it by 2, and you take the entire right side and you multiply it by 2 as well. Okay, so the correct answer is going to be letter D. Now, you could as well go to the graphing calculator and you could graph out the original line, and then you just graph out the answer choices. Okay, infinite solutions, we're looking for the overlapping of the same line twice. So that does not happen in A, so A is wrong. Now I do this. Are they overlapping? No, not completely, so this is wrong. Now, notice if I just go to type and put the 2 here, but this is answer choice D, notice yes, now I have the same line overlapping itself. That means infinite solutions. However, if you wanted to check C, here you would see again, they don't overlap completely. Looks like they actually end up being parallel in this case, which would be no solution. But again, correct answer is letter D. All right, for number 21, here we have an absolute value function. And basically what they're saying here is when you plug in 5 for this, excuse me, okay, you get some number. So I'm just going to go ahead and like calculate that out. So we get 5 minus 4 times 5. That's 20. 5 minus 20 is negative 15. Absolute value of that is 15. Okay. So what we really have is for this equation is 15 minus f of some number a equals negative 15. Or another way to think, or just rearranging this, negative f of a equals negative 30. Or in other words, some value that you plug in for x to this function will give 30 as an output. Okay, so what you really have is 30 is equal to the absolute value of x minus 4x. Now notice this can actually just be simplified to negative 3x. And then from here, you could technically set up the two equations. You could say negative 3x equals 30, or you could say negative 3x equals negative 30. So basically, you get two answers. You get negative 10 and you get positive 10. So that's the value for A. I mean, I did it as x here, but really it's A that I'm solving for. So what's the correct answer? Well, it is 10. Letter C. However, you could do this in Desmos, and I'm going to show you it's probably going to be way quicker, much easier. So what I would do first is I would define the function. Okay. And then, let's see here. Oh, and then what I would do is, sorry, I just realized. You're going to go through. Okay, so what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to type the expression that we're evaluating, right? And actually, no, I don't want it to that. What I want to do is now I'm going to add a slider and I'm going to test all the answer choices and see, do I get negative 15? So for negative 20, I do not. For 5, I do not. For 10, I do. Correct answer. 45, I do not. Okay? So this is basically back solving. You're plugging the answer choices in to the problem to see, do I get negative 15 as my output? And just confirms that answer C is correct. All right, next up we have number 22. Basically what's going on here is you have this car dealer is selling 15 more than, so that's going to be plus 15 or 15 plus, 3 times the number of cars sold in September. And that's equal to, basically, this is the August number because it says in August, a car dealer completed blah, 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 blah. So this is the August. This is the September, which is X. You could use other letters if you want to. If you want to use A and S, that would be fine. Together in both months, so August plus September, together is 363. Now you're solving this system of equations. So you could do this by hand, but honestly, I'm not going to spend the time doing that. Like, why spend the time doing that by hand? We can just go to Desmos and just type everything in, get the answers right from there. Now I'm going to have to zoom out a ways. There we go. There's the intersection. So X, which is the September car sales, is 87. And Y, which is the August car sales, which technically we don't care about for the problem purposes, is 276. So how many did they sell in September? Well, it's just 87. All right. So I hope you enjoyed the solutions to this Bluebook Practice Test 7, Module 2A, the easier of the 2-second math modules. If you have any questions or comments, please do leave them below. Otherwise, if you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and sign up for notifications. And if you haven't done so already, check out the solutions to Module 1 from Practice Test 7 and from Module 2B, the harder of the 2-second modules from, again, the same Practice Test 7 as well.